Love and Light. I'm your host, Dr. Jane Montrose, and I'm here with my wonderful friend and co-host, Lula Mora. We're both spiritual guides, coaches, healers, and much more. And with Awakenings Institute, we share the devotion to creating a more loving world, which is part of what we talk about every time, and certainly part of what we're talking about today, because our focus is on spending time with your magical child. And maybe you know what that is, maybe not. We'll explain. Each of us has a wounded inner child, or has now, or has had in the past, a wounded inner child. And this is the one people often talk about when they talk about connecting with the inner child, because this is the part of the self that has been traumatized earlier in life, that needs healing and essentially needs love. Unknown to most, we also have a child within us that has not become disconnected from our wholeness, that has not become wounded, that is connected with Source. And unlike the wounded inner child, the magical child, as we call it, is an enlightened part of the self who actually comes to us as a teacher and a companion, because the magical child is joyful and magical and loving and wants to have fun. We'll see. We'll experience it today. So we're going to also do something unique today as part of our discussion of the importance of bringing the magic child more actively into our lives. We're going to do an oracle reading. I'll be drawing cards from the Good Tarot, which I have right here. It's a wonderful, wonderful deck. And we'll add that to the discussion. It would be as if when we're drawing the cards, we're interviewing the magical child directly, which is really fun. Then we'll have a meditation for opening more to this child's presence in our lives, so you can experience it for yourself if you haven't experienced it before, or just go deeper with that presence if you have. Anyhow, I'm very excited. As usual, before we begin, we're going to take a moment to breathe. So you can start, just if you're in a place where it's safe to close your eyes, just close your eyes for a moment, and we can start bringing in the magic, just inviting the magic, the wonder, the joy, the love from the universe to surround us, and breathing in that light. And letting go as you exhale, letting go of anything that isn't serving you right now, any tension or whatever you might sense. A few wonderful breaths. And it is interesting, the universe delivers to us what we request. So if you request magic and joy, you're likely to feel it as you breathe. And love. It feels good. Yes. We felt good before, I think. Feeling even better now. I also wanted to invite you, wherever you are. I have to put up, let's see, our chat. If you're here, please say hello. If you're new, say hello, let us know where you're from. And whoever you are, feel free to comment, to ask questions, to engage with us, because we really enjoy that, having the opportunity to connect with you. So with that, Lula, I'd like to turn it over to you and have you describe a little bit for everybody about your understanding and experience with the magical child.
Thank you, Jane. Before anything, I want to say hi. It's been a while since last time that I was here, so I'm really excited. I'm happy to be here. And yeah, as this word is saying it, the magical child is magic, is expansion in my opinion, is that way to really connect with unicorns and with the rainbow and with colors. And in my experience, magic wands. Actually, that part of being joyful and creative,
Right.
And enjoying little things. And as you mentioned, maybe we are more like used to hear the word wounded child than
Right.
magical child. And in my experience, and actually you mentioned it, we have those parts. We have that wounded child and that magical child. Well, all of us. But what I have experienced is that if the wounded child is very active or you haven't done your healing, it's more challenging to really allow that magical child
Right.
to show up.
Right.
You know? Because in a way, is that wounds are like a covering, that
Hmm.
magic, and
Right.
that
They're
magical
taking
child
space.
exactly is not giving that, as you said, is not giving the space for that magical child to express, because
Right.
is the same, let's call it a fractal of energy. It's an energy that have two sides, like the yin and yang, morning and
Hmm.
night. Is not actually right or wrong, because we
No.
learn so much from the wounded child and we need
Right.
it for
Right.
our growth.
Right. Well, and they're
But
they're reaching to us because they want to be healed. They want
exactly,
our help. It's like, please.
exactly, they are asking for help and for attention and for love.
Right.
No, there's a moment in our lives that when we get that consciousness, that level of consciousness, that we are the only ones responsible for our lives, and that when we experience in childhood or any events that actually give us some kind of impact or trauma,
Hmm.
are the teachers, are the portals for healing, for growing spiritually, and just to make it like we actually choose them. We don't have a lot of consciousness about it, but we choose a lot of the moments in our lives as part of our way to conquer our mission in this lifetime.
Right.
So
Well,
childhood
I
in
think
our
it actually the inner child comes forward when we're ready. I think
great
there are
point.
many people they haven't developed enough spiritual strength to be able to access that and to be able to do something with it. I mean, there was a
Right.
time, I've been doing this for many, many years, and way back in the 1980s when I first heard about the wounded inner child, I didn't think I had any wounds. I remember thinking, well, my parents did the best they could, and everything was, fine. But then I started having dreams about uh, a child who was angry with me,
Mhm.
and it was very young child, like maybe 18 months old. And then I realized I connected with that inner child and did some healing. And then I had a dream with an older child. So it's a it's a progression. I don't know if it's linear like that for everybody, but it is a progression, and they come forward when it's time.
Great. Yeah, and actually you just make me remember something, is that in my experience that inner child has been growing too. When I heal something, I
Hmm.
can actually feel, because it's different. Sometimes it's with images, sometimes it's with some kind of dreams, sometimes some insights, like some
Right.
words that come to me, like giving me some guidance. And I have seen that when I healed some parts, my wounded inner child has grown in a way,
Right.
so
Hmm.
it's not
Becomes older.
exactly, it's like I have seen how has has grown, and maybe the insights are different because I'm ready, as you said, to another level in my
Hmm.
own like process.
Hmm. Right.
And every time that I observe myself and my process, and I see, because I feel that I have really healed a lot from my inner child, that wounded
Right.
child actually doesn't show so much lately.
Hmm.
And that's allowing that my magical child is more present there. And because I
Right.
already experienced it, it is easier to bring that energy to my present moment, into my
Right.
life,
Yeah.
quickly.
Right.
And is such an amazing experience. But as you said, it's like getting ready sometimes. And I think in the healing process is for brave people to,
Oh,
because
right. Yeah.
we see
Mhm.
a lot of things that are not nice to see and to accept.
That aren't so easy. Right. Yeah. It's not all fun and games. For
Yes.
sure.
And yeah, the inner child can have some tantrums,
Mhm. Right.
and in
Yeah.
its own way
That can I say something?
express.
I want
Of
to,
course.
speaking of tantrums, because I was thinking in terms of tangible um, understanding of the wounded inner child. We think of ourselves as being one unified person, but actually we're many. There are different parts of us who have become disconnected and they're off doing their own thing. Um, with the wounded inner child, one way you can recognize it, and it might be easier in other people than in oneself, because it is hard sometimes to see ourselves in that kind of a way. But someone where they seem to be reasonable and rational, and you're having a conversation, and all of a sudden this little 3-year-old comes forward. It's like, oh, I couldn't do that, I wouldn't ever want to do that, and you think, where did that come from?
Absolutely.
Wait a minute. That inner child is a real part of the self that is expressing itself, and all of the parts of us do the best that they can with what they know. And those
Oh
parts
yeah.
of the self, because they've become disconnected, because they had trauma that they couldn't deal with, they're kind of stuck there. So we have part of ourselves maybe who are 3 years old and 7 years old or whatever it
Yeah. I really can relate
is.
to that, because I have seen one of my like past tendencies was to stay in silence, maybe like to feel heard. So and immediately like to to
Mhm.
feel that punch, and I I identify that part of myself, and when I'm having, for example, a conversation, or I'm spending time with people, and something happens and I feel that, like I actually know that that's a part of myself, as you mentioned, because I are parts there that needs attention,
Right.
and are like flags at the same time, because if you are in your
Mhm.
process and you are observing, that's a great clue, to observe, because what I'm getting in this state, what's going on really here, with me, because sometimes we think that from the ego I have everything in control, that's a word that I actually avoid to use, because I think we don't have the control of anything. Actually, that is like, why I behave this way, why I react, because that's other thing. That's a reaction. It's not a response,
Right.
because
Right.
it's different,
Yeah, and you can feel
So
that. It's kind of, and you might wonder yourself, like, why did that, all of a sudden I feel
yeah,
so strongly about this. Why? Why is that? We just don't. There's so much about ourselves that we don't know. That idea of that our consciousness is like an iceberg, and we just see this little bit on the top when there's all this beneath it that it is we're completely unaware of it, and that as we evolve, of course, then we're bringing more of ourself home, you could say, back into our wholeness, and we feel more. That if you have a hard time feeling like you can be present, it might be partly because there are all of these distractions, parts of the self that are distractions. um,
absolutely.
and then as we bring them back, we feel for one thing also more comfortable with who we are, because we don't have
I
parts of
agree.
the self that don't feel loved and don't feel accepted. And um, it's part of our evolution. And then of course opening to the magical child, as that is appropriate, is
Yeah,
really
and
a wonderful part of the journey.
Absolutely. And at the same, is actually the same when you have already space for that magical child to show up. It's beautiful because as the same way as we like describe that wounded child, that magical child comes to support us. And actually that
Right.
is so wise. It's so wise, that
Right. And
magical
simple.
child.
It's not
And
hard to
simple.
understand.
Exactly. It's like, hey, let's bring some joy. Like it's not such a big deal. Let's dance, or let's use what we have. And in the middle of a chaos, it's like looking for the simple ways, as you mentioned. And if you allow that energy to come to you and to feel comfortable, of course it's gonna show up more frequently.
Hmm.
And when you are in your process, and you learn how to love actually that part of yourself, you give that energy like the permission to keep you guiding in your journey. So
Right.
you feel more empowered, to
Right. Yeah.
behave in ways that a kid can do it. They they
Right.
they they give you a smile when actually you are like so, like sometimes like so angry or so focused on something and not seeing it, and then they're smiling or looking for a way to play, or and sometimes that's what we need,
Right.
like change the channel
Right.
and bring that
Yeah.
magic,
Yeah.
colors, or sometimes a smell, or
Right.
a candy, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for myself, the reason this came up as a topic is because I keep drawing cards. I do oracle and tarot readings for myself and just in general, quite frequently. And I think Lula does too, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And I love it.
Which is very enlightening. Of course, actually, the magical child loves things like that. But I keep getting these messages about connecting with my magical child, and this was just last week. I was going through. I was looking up something in my old journals, which I have online. I've had them where I dictate into my journal pretty much every day, not absolutely, but pretty much. Um, and I've been doing it that way since 2021. So I have a record of all the things that were going on. And I was looking up something. It wasn't the magical child, and I came across, and this was from October 2021, um, where actually it was in my meditation. It was Jesus telling me that it was important for me to connect with my magical child. And I was thinking, that was 3 years ago, and I'm still getting this message. I think maybe I would benefit from paying more attention to it. So that was what inspired me, and it is, you can invite your magical child to be with you anytime throughout the day, to bring more magic, to bring more playfulness, more joy, more love. And I did want to mention, speaking of Jesus, and it's not a religious thing. This is not Christianity versus anything else, but it is really about the Christ consciousness. Um, in the Bible, he's reported to have said, I tell you the truth, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. And which to me means that we need to open to that joy and that magic and that wonder, to open to the wholeness of who we are. Because the problem essentially is we're heavy. It's like dense. We need to lighten up. And this is one of the easier ways to do it. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So,
I love that you brought out that quote, because yes, the Christ energy, that's a lot that we are actually feeling right now in this transition time. And I think it's a great reminder to have our inner, like, magical child close to us, because it's easy, as you mentioned, and as we have been talking today, and simple things are Actually, love is simple, but we
Right.
were the ones that
We
makes it
complicate things.
complicated.
Right.
Yes. You
With
know,
love,
so it's
understanding love as a state of connectedness. It's not like I love this and hate that. It's a state of, it is an aspect of oneness, and we don't necessarily recognize it unless we open to it.
exactly. And if you are going to
Oh, by the
heaven,
way, let me say, I was ignoring the chat, and I want to say good morning. Nikki's here. Hi, Nikki.
hi, Nikki.
And Susan Carey. And
Hi, Susan.
Susan says, bringing myself home is a beautiful description. And it is really, yeah. Inner birthing to rise up. And Nikki says, innocence and trust. It is, it's all good. It's like,
Yeah, and we
give
are not
yourself a
judging.
gift, you know?
Yes, and something that I admire a lot from that energy of being a child is like you are not judging. So you are not labeling,
Right,
you know? And that's beautiful.
right. Definitely. Yeah. So we ready for a card?
Yes,
I have a few
please.
questions we can ask. We'll see how far we go. The first one, so these are questions for we'll have to say collective magical child, since it is for us as a collective. I'm going to shuffle a little here. And I'm going to switch over. I have another, a second camera that I can switch over to so we can see the cards. And so what I do, the way I draw is I spread the cards out and just see which one is calling to me. So this is the one that's calling, and then I just bring the others back together. So what do you most want us to know about the magical child? This is interesting. It's the King of Fire. And the King of Fire, fire is life force, really, essentially. So it's the energy that brings things to life. And I would definitely say the magical child does that. So I have to find it in the book here. They're not in the same order as I often see. Here's the King of Fire. Now it's interesting, there's a big heart there.
Yes. And actually, very like positioning in the solar plexus.
Mm-hmm. Right. So it is, the key phrases are spiritual influencer, creative inspired leadership. When I'm aligned with spirit, I'm a powerful leader who inspires others. My mastery benefits others as I teach them directly at time and indirectly at others, modeling what they might aspire to. How can I be confident in my own abilities and vision without becoming rigid or closed off to new ideas? That's a question to consider. So what do you think, Lula, with that?
Wow, I think the card is amazing. You
Yeah.
know, like fits so good because it's actually what we were saying, you know, like it's a guide, it's inspiration, it's a leader. If you
Right.
allow your magical child to lead the way, you will be first of all like in a lot of creation and creativity plus wisdom, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, fire is action. And when you are
Right.
with that energy of a kid or a child, is you are active. When you are a kid, you are active. You want to explore things. You are adventurous.
Right.
You are in
Inspired.
action. Exactly. You
Right. It
want
is the
to do a lot
inspiration
of
to do
things.
things. Right. Yeah.
You want to discover. And when we don't bring that you know like that possibility of exploring, because as adults we sometimes get it like in the box, you know, and we don't have time for new things. We are like so strict and we are not flexible. And when we actually bring that energy, we allow a lot of that flexibility, wisdom, and action, but it's not that action that you are like focused on that specifically. It's more something that you are allowing. So you are allowing to flow. You are part of you are not having any expectations, I think. So you
Mm.
allow things to flow.
Right. Right. And this is we also have the inner child cards. This is another tarot deck. It's obviously, you can see, very big. And this is the same card, which is in this case called the Guardian of Wands. And it says, this card is known as the King of Wands. It is the most majestic and masterful card in the tarot regarding the power of higher intuition and spiritual healing. This card mirrors to individuals that they are ready to fully embrace the talents, creative endeavors, I think this is what you were talking about, and spiritual discipline that they have focused on in the past. Great ability will pay off, and one may assume authority in whatever field he or she has focused on. And it's interesting because it is a card of mastery, which, you think sometimes too that the inner child is just fluff. But I think that this card is trying to tell us that it isn't, we're not talking about fluff. We're talking about really embracing your strength, your energy, everything that you hold within you that is wanting to emerge. Beautiful with I like this card with the planet and the young person directing
A lot of beautiful details, actually.
Yeah. And the wand has a butterfly on top, a green butterfly.
Always in transformation, like in transforming and beauty,
Right. Yeah.
And like that part of dying and being alive again, the cycle of a butterfly is very like little. And how like doesn't matter. It's just for that specific moment of joy and beauty and love,
Right.
and that's the spontaneous part of a child, that spark. And is in actually seeing that, that is seeing the world is actually giving me a lot of inspiration, because connects you with the higher realms.
Right. Yeah.
And allows you to see things from a higher perspective.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you don't think of a child as having a broader perspective, but I think this card is telling us that we need to look at it differently than we would at a child normally. So would you like me to draw one for immediate benefits of creating this stronger relationship? I think I'll move.
And by the way, I love this other camera that you have that is showing us the cards. It's new for me.
Yeah, we do that.
Love
now.
it.
We have a course, where we do oracle readings. So need to. So it is. This is so interesting. Just because I wasn't expecting this kind of message, but immediate benefits, it's the Hierophant, the major arcana, number 5. So this is, again, connecting to that wiser part of the self. And let me see what it says in here in the book about it. This is an interesting, the Good Tarot is very interesting in that it's about positive psychology. So it is looking at things from a more spiritual and positive perspective, and some tarots get really down into it. So Hierophant, spiritual practice. When this card appears, it reminds me to be committed to a spiritual practice to ensure a conscious contact to my higher power. When I have a daily practice of prayer and meditation steeped in gratitude and committed to being a co-creator, life works out in wondrous ways.
Wow. No, is in my opinion, is already like giving us some insights of how to maintain or to keep actually that connection and bringing the inner child.
Right. And here's what we have in the inner child cards. We have the Hierophant is the wizard. That makes sense. Huh?
Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful card.
Mm.
So
The
it is
magic.
interesting for it to mention also that making this part of a spiritual practice. This is not just fun and games, although it is fun and games. I think that's part of it is we think, oh, spiritual, I need to be
Yeah.
serious.
Doesn't need to be
When
so rigid.
actually it doesn't have to be, and it's better if it isn't, because we're already heavy enough without becoming heavier. So
Yes.
there are a couple of cards to inspire us to look at this more seriously, and at the same time understand how can we look at something more seriously when it seems so also so light. I'm going to go back
Great
to
point.
my other view here. Just so those I love those cards.
Wow.
That was
Incredible.
very
How
interesting.
we always say, like how they connect one with the other one and make like the message
Mm-hmm.
bolder.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I think each of us, according to what we're experiencing right now in our life, the message touches us differently
Mm-hmm. Right.
according
Right.
to
And
our
yeah,
level of
right.
consciousness.
Right. And our uniqueness.
Yeah, great point. Great point.
Because
And
we're all wanting to find our own way. Um, and at the same time, what the hope is with this, with talking about it in terms of collective, is to give us a sense of what is possible if we pay attention to it.
yes,
So we ready for the
absolutely.
meditation? So to
Yes.
meet with the magical child, we're going to go over the rainbow. A serious
So good.
meditation with the magician. We'll go over the rainbow with the magician.
With
Actually,
your magic wand, with the one we got in the card
yeah, yeah.
as a butterfly.
And I think of actually when I think of the magician, I think of Archangel Raziel. Do you know Archangel Raziel? And
Yes.
he's actually one of the most joyful of the archangels. So we're going to start by inviting Raziel to join us. And if you're in a place where you can close your eyes, it's a great time to do so. Just breathing again, inviting that magical light from the universe. And Raziel the magician, he's considered to be the magician of the archangels, just blessing us with what he actually, which is interesting, is he is often experienced as a rainbow of light. so as we breathe and lighten up, we can imagine ourselves starting to rise up to a higher place, safely and gently rising up, just breathing in more light with each in-breath and releasing with the exhale. So we can rise up. And one of my favorite things these days is to imagine we can rise up so high that we go through that kind of would penetrate the atmosphere. We go outside of the atmosphere of the mass consciousness, which is we're in this energy that is inviting us all the time to go downward in our consciousness. We're wanting to rise up. So we're going through that. And from here, we can see a beautiful, glorious rainbow. And Raziel is there saying that he's adding special light to it for us. And he's going to highlight all the colors for us as we start. We enter into the rainbow with red, beautiful red. And each of the colors has the opportunity to balance and energize us. So we can send this red energy wherever it's needed, around anywhere in our energy field, anywhere in the body, just inviting the most beautiful red you can imagine. Pure red. And then flowing through that to orange. Orange is the next color. And again, Raziel is there with his magic wand, adding magic to the orange color. So breathing in that orange and inviting it anywhere in your body that needs orange and all around you, your energy field. And it's interesting, the cells, I always imagine the cells take in the colors they need. So just all through the body and around you. You may feel yourself expanding as we go. From orange, now we go to yellow. Again, with Raziel blessing this beautiful, vibrant yellow color. You can feel it all around you. And then in your body, inviting it into all of the cells that would be blessed by yellow. And again, letting go of anything that's not serving you. So we're activating energy and we're healing, letting go. And as we move forward, now we move from yellow to green, most vibrant green, understood often or generally as a healing color. And I see also Archangel Raphael, who is known as the healing angel. So we're being blessed. And you can now imagine that green, the most beautiful green, pure green, all around you and through your body, everywhere that needs green. And then again, exhaling anything that can be released, anything that's heavy and unneeded. And then from green, we go to a beautiful kind of sky blue, beautiful blue, the most beautiful, beautiful blue. Again, inviting it all through your body, all around you, and allowing, you might notice now your energy field is expanding, brightening up. And then from blue, we go to a more deep kind of an indigo. Just breathing that beautiful deep blue in, indigo, into your body and all around you. Continuing forward with Raziel and Raphael. And I see Metatron now joining us. As we move to purple to violet, a beautiful, beautiful violet is the highest frequency of light that we can see with our eyes, our 3D eyes in our imagination. So it's like an ultraviolet, the most beautiful penetrating violet, which is known to be a very healing energy. Also through your body, I can really feel that, and all around you. And then from there, moving into pure light, embracing that light and filling your body and your whole aura with it. Again, allowing yourself to expand out to the joy of being yourself. And from here, you can see that magical playground in the higher dimensions, and your magical child is waiting for you. This is the time you can come here anytime. You can see the child, maybe sit down on a bench together. She might have a gift for you. Maybe she has a toy she wants to share with you, or maybe she has a magic wand for you. Something, who knows what she has. Or he, maybe it's a he. And then maybe she has something in the playground she wants to show you. Just take a moment. I'm going to be quiet for a moment just to experience this beautiful higher dimensional playground with your magical child. And my magical child is pointing out also that the stars are all around us. Might be shooting stars and bright stars, twinkling stars. Maybe colorful stars even. Much more colorful and larger than we see when we're here on Earth. And just receiving that love from your magical child and deciding together that you're going to meet off. You don't have to necessarily come to the playground. You can pick a place you can meet at home now that you've introduced yourself together, and take your magical child everywhere you go or anywhere you go. You may notice that your magical child is very willing to do that with you. And with that, we're ready to return for now. Like I said, you can come back here to play anytime. You can also invite your magical child into any experience you're having to get a broader sense of what's going on from a higher perspective. So we can now just imagine ourselves drifting back down to Earth. Down into your seat where you started. Just breathing in more active energy now, so you can return to your normal waking state, being grounded, now grounded to Mother Earth, sending love there and receiving it in return. And again, breathing that active energy, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. How was your magical child, Lula?
Oh, what a beautiful experience, Jane. Actually, I was able to feel her. There was a moment where it was changing to boy and girl. It was beautiful because it was like doesn't matter, you know.
Right. We
But
have the feminine and masculine, and it's fine.
exactly.
Whatever.
And sometimes I perceive my inner child as a girl and sometimes as a boy. And I think it's
Mhm.
how I have been like receiving that energy is when I need to check my male and my female energy,
Right.
how I'm like
That makes
in
sense.
balance or not.
Right.
And what's nice because when we started it, the meditation, I saw her packing in a backpack, you know, full of glitters and colors, a lot of coloring books and things because we are having an adventure. She was already excited that I was going to like meet with her. And then while we were doing the process, connecting with the colors of the rainbow, then finally, when I was there in the playground, our playground was the sky actually, and were the clouds. So we were coloring books. She was so excited that she was opening the backpack and wanted to do a lot of things at the same time, but then she got distracted, and then she was jumping from one cloud to the other one, and then were bubbles, and you know, like really enjoying that moment together. And there was a specific moment when we were like in like seeing stickers. She was having a lot of stickers too and putting stickers all around. And then she looked at me and she was like, "Oh," and she gave me a hug. You know, she knew that I was needing that hug. She was like, "I'm so excited. I want to do a lot of things, but I'm not gonna miss that hug that you need." And yeah, actually, a lot of colors and I felt and I'm not a candy person, but I was able to smell, you know, candy.
Interesting.
And yeah, she was wanting to use the coloring books with me and to put some glitters, and yeah, was beautiful. But she was excited, and like we were on an adventure together. You know, we're gonna have a trip. So she packed, she knew, and she was ready to meet me. So it was beautiful, and And I was all the time like feeling that company of the angels and archangels all the time, and actually she was like inviting them and seeing them, like, we can play, you can play, come, you can play too. So it was like that the message that I had today is that actually she loves my inner child, my magical child loves to spend time with angels and archangels and with beings that are in a higher level of frequency, because
Mm-hmm.
she feels more comfortable. So she was
Right.
like,
Of
let's
course.
invite all of them all the time. And I was like, oh, great point. You know, like, you're right. So yes, beautiful. Thank you so much. And I feel, that excitement. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I want to do a lot of things today.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it really did. I felt that
Beautiful.
magical energy quite a bit.
Yeah,
I
and the
like that.
stars.
So beautiful.
Absolutely. And that,
Yeah, and
you
Susan,
know,
Susan mentioned, I didn't see it right away, how much she liked that butterfly too, the butterfly wand. Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, just really, it's a blessing, and it is. I think you connect with that magic, and it's a relief. It's kind of like, oh, I don't have to take this so seriously. I don't have to struggle. I can
Absolutely.
go through all of this with magic and joy and wonder.
And imagination, I think that was a moment in my experience today that she said to me, like, everything that you imagine is possible. So it's like, don't limit yourself. It's like a little bit what I received when she was telling me, like, imagine this, and jumping from here and there, anything's possible. We're jumping in clouds, like, you know if you put a lot of mind on that, you will never enjoy it, because it's like almost not possible. So
Right.
with our inner magical child, everything is possible.
Right. Now I'm getting out my planet too. Now we can send that love, that joy, that wonder out to the world. Here it is, my beautiful planet.
Yes.
Matching planets. And just, oh, there's Foxy. These are
Oh,
these things help too with wonder and joy. Little hug.
absolutely.
She's a hugger. So
Oh.
they are really funny. And a kisser. Huh. She's the magical dog child.
They
Well,
are, and
dogs are,
she's
they are magical, aren't you? Yes, you are.
a kisser.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
she's a smoocher. She would just continue smooching if I let her. Anyhow, we're doing serious stuff here. She's looking at me. Huh? She'll kiss my hands. Oh, so sweet. They are wondrous. They bring forth that kind of energy too. Just that simple
Agree.
love and joy, and
Simplicity.
yeah, yeah. Anyhow, just imagine a world if everybody was connected to that magic and that wonder and that joy, and supporting one another. We don't have to fight for what's ours. There's enough on the planet for everybody. Unfortunately, there are those who feel they have to hoard, which doesn't actually serve us all that well. I think she likes the energy. Don't you? You're silly. You stay there. Stay there.
She wants more.
Yeah, I like this energy. I want more. Yes, I know you want. Okay.
It's so beautiful.
Anyhow, if we just think, and that's what I think is so powerful, is if we recognize the potential for these kinds of things, like the potential of love. It wouldn't cost anything for everyone to shift into a place of loving one another. It's not, instead we spend money on bombs and missiles and whatever. Just that's because there is what happens actually when we are wounded is that we become separate from the truth and how important healing is. It just really highlights it. And that's why we're here right now. Because if we can heal ourselves and be brighter lights, and then if we can invite others to join us in a more positive, pleasant place
Yeah,
to live from that joy, then we've done something. And I think many people feel, well, what can I do? I can't do anything. You can. You can be the love that you want to see in the world. Be the joy.
I agree.
You know?
And doing your work when you are focused on being better and tapping to that better version of yourself, you are helping a lot because you're lighting yourself.
Right.
So
Right.
you're shining more brightly,
Mm-hmm. Right.
you know?
That
And
whole
you're
idea, I think of looking at the suit of wands or the suit of fire, you know, they're the same. Um, it is about life force. You know, this is the magical child brings life force to us because the life child is connected with that inspiration, that wonder, that magic, that wants to see things happen in the world, wants to be part of that.
yes.
And the best
There's
way
a
is
lot of
to
hope,
have a
you
magic
know?
wand.
Yes. Have
It's a
things that
start.
actually bring
And
you
these are
to that
available on
state.
Amazon.
I love that you have it there because I use things to remind me, you know,
Right. Yeah.
of connecting with that energy and enjoying actually. I love colors and pens and stickers and you know
Right.
and I enjoy that, you know. It is a way that I bring those colors and I really enjoy and I see how simple for me, you know. It's like, okay, I have new stickers or new markers and I'm excited for the new class or to take notes and
Mm-hmm.
that's the little by little that energy is bringing to my life, you know. It's like being awe, you know, in awe of little things. Doesn't need to be as the
Right.
mind sometimes dictates, you know, like that day I'm gonna be happy, the day that I have this and that. And no, simple, with a smell,
Mm-hmm.
with a color, with, you know, bubbles, with
Yeah.
an animal, little things that actually makes a huge impact emotionally for us.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Be grateful for small things. You know, enjoy small things. I think that's part of it is that it doesn't have to be, you know, I'm going to be the next millionaire. I'm going to, whatever it is. Like I'm I'm blessed and I'm
And yeah, you
living a
know,
joyful life.
you said it and I felt how actually this energy and connecting with our inner child gives us like a feeling of being lighter, you know. It's not
Oh, it
so
is.
heavy.
Right. Right.
It's not so heavy. It's like, ah, it's not a big deal, you know. Like, let's wait, take a pause, breathe, enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Right. And support one another. I think that's one of the things that is to me so perplexing about what's happening in the world, that people think that by holding other people down, they're going to make a better world. When actually, the best way to make a better world is allow everyone to blossom, to be their very best. Then we have all of our resources working at capacity instead of
Yes.
we're going to keep these over here
Yeah, all the
down
parts
so
of the
that these
parts
other
of the
ones can.
system are
Right.
working. Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And
crazy.
you know, actually, I just remember, I just want to bring something, and now that we're talking about the inner child, is like we as adults, we misunderstood that we are the leaders with kids, and actually they are the masters and we're the guides. You know, they know. So according to that statement, you know, when you allow your inner child to be your master, you know, and you work together,
Mm-hmm.
you are gonna be surprised about like the deepness, you know, and the willingness of doing things because have a completely different meaning, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Right.
And the child feels like accepted and worthy, and those are the energies that I think we bring when we heal that wounded child,
Hmm.
that we feel worthy, that we feel important, that we feel loved.
Right.
So
So
yeah.
with that, Lula, would you like to tell people how they can connect with you? I know you have personal sessions, you do readings, offer many things. So how would you like people to connect?
Okay, people can connect with me through social media, through Facebook, Lula Mora, LOOLAMORA, MORA. On Instagram, the same. I'm not having a web page right now, so through social media they can connect. Or yeah, I think that's the easiest way to connect with me. Yes, I'm offering like personalized healing sessions, like one, and from there we will see, but you can have that experience and have one healing session with me, or courses that are coming, or programs. I actually do oracle readings too. I put like I do a mix of things when I'm working with people. I think
Hmm.
that's good when you have different tools, and you
Right.
can like understand and read and feel that person. So according to that reading, I use different tools. But yeah, that's what I'm doing actually right now. And I would love to connect and to chat.
I'm trying to I'm trying to put this into the chat for people. I got kind of yeah, let's see. Oops.
There's my magical child, like, but bring the stickers and bring the markers and bring everything for the sessions.
Right. And for Awakenings Institute for me and Awakenings Institute, I'm going to give you a tiny URL for where you can go for personal sessions. We have a whole variety of things on our website. So it is tinyurl.com/spiritual-session, and I'll put that here. Hmm. Okay, so you can if you follow that link, you'll end up at our website, and there are many things there, lots of free things, lots of opportunities. You can find out about our spiritual mission with Awakenings Institute and so much more. Um, and I want to again thank you for being here. If you want to support the circle, you can follow our page on Facebook. It's facebook.com/awakenings circle. You can share the video with your friends. You can invite your friends to join you on Facebook in the circle. We're also on YouTube. Um, and then you have something to talk about that's new and different. I don't know how many people are having conversations about the magical child with their friends, but it's a fun one.
Agree.
Yeah. And the final thing that we do is send that magical, joyful, magical child energy forward for the whole week. And as I do that, I do want to thank all the angels and beings of light who have been with us, Raziel, Metatron, and Raphael, and more, and our own magical children. So thank you to this big spiritual community that's surrounding us. And have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time.
Bye.